But, Pip, what's your connection with Fitzroy?
I moved to Melbourne when I was about 21, and very quickly discovered that Fitzroy was a place that I like to hang out. The people that live here and the kind of things that are available here, the art galleries, the cafes, the pubs and the bands and the music and stuff, became my home here very, very quickly.
And where did you come from before Fitzroy?
I came from Mildura, northwest Victoria, country town.
And why did you come to Fitzroy?
You just asked me that.
No.
Why did I come to Fitzroy?
Yeah. Was it friends or?
Well, I initially moved to Carlton because a friend was living in Carlton, and just a couple of suburbs over, but found that I was, mostly hanging out in places on Brunswick Street and Smith Street, and, the gay bars in Collingwood and around the traps, as opposed to anywhere else in Melbourne. So this kind of became my home in Melbourne.
Okay, so you've lived here before, in Fitzroy?
Yeah, I've lived in Carlton, Abbotsford, Collingwood, Fitzroy, North Fitzroy, Northcote. So in Fitzroy for about 3 years, I think, and also in other suburbs around it. As Fitzroy becomes increasingly more expensive, I find myself living as close to the area as I can.
Yeah.
That I can afford to.
And you don't live here now?
No, I'm living, if you can call it that, in Mount Waverley at the moment. People do actually live in Mount Waverley. Yeah, I go there to sleep, and I work out there as well at the moment. And
is that because the rents are cheaper out there? Or?
Yeah, because the work I do doesn't make a lot of money. I make activist videos and a filmmaker, so it doesn't make a lot of money, so I don't really have the full range of choice that a waged person might have in terms of where they live.
Okay. And what's...
Better if you hold the mic still, don't twist it in your fingers, you'll get much.
And what...
Better if you hold it by the clip as well, possibly.
And what sort of films do you make?
I've just finished a documentary about Jabluka, and I make films for Sky TV activist videos, like films about people who are protesting about issues and stories about human rights, social justice, environmental issues.
Now, what do you understand about the process known as globalisation?
From my perspective, it seems to be a word that's been applied to the whole gamut of protests that have been going on for, well, in my experience anyway, since I got involved in activism. It was mostly about nuclear issues, when it seems like there's now an umbrella term, defines how corporations and, how super-governmental organisations are organising the world to kind of benefit corporations and profit. I think when I first got involved in protesting about things, we did it aimed at a particular corporation, but now there's like this protest movement, or this supranational umbrella group called anti-globalisation protesters who, try and are seeking change at a global economic and political level.
So globalisation or globalism is like a set of ideas that's brought a lot of the protest movement together? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, it's been, the IMF, the World Bank, other organisations like that, weren't going to get away with it forever. I mean, they still are getting away with it now, but at least people are aware of the issues that are going on with organisations like that, and people are, combating the strategies that enable corporations to make the profits that have the effects at the local level, as opposed to, just fighting at a local level. There's now a global focus to the action as well.
So how do the ideas get to the international level? How do they circulate around the different activist movements, either in local areas or in the rest of the other countries?
There's always been communication between people fighting different causes in different countries and different regions and different continents. And it's possibly the internet has had the speed at which you can communicate there has had an effect on people being able to communicate issues, and digital technologies like video, etc. also sped up that, and just international telephone networks and the whole internationalisation of communication worked as much in the favour of protest as it has in the people who are trying to exploit corporations. It's benefited protesters as much as it's benefited corporations and governments.
Have you tried to circulate your movies online at all?
In the last fortnight, I've had 3 emails from people who discovered my documentary through our website and sent emails asking if they could get hold of a copy to put on at their film festivals, 2 from the UK, 1 from Prague. So, yeah, and also the independent festivals and other organisations that I've found through searching on the internet has provided a list of names and sent off probably 10-15 copies to places like that. So the internet's been particularly useful, just international distribution.
Have you thought of actually digitising some of your footage and putting it online? Have you thought about that tactic?
Yeah, video on the internet kind of sucks at the moment. It's so low band. I mean, I understand for a research project like this where the aesthetics of it isn't the most important thing, but it works quite effectively. But I mean, my motivation for making films as much as being the content in it, it's a visual aesthetic, so I'd be a bit loath to compress the fuck out of my video and audio to put it on the internet, that it wouldn't have the impact that it would have, and people could end up having quite a negative impression of it. But I'm looking at ways of being able to rework the content to be suitable for a digital or an online environment. Yeah.
And is there any way that you can articulate corporate globalisation? Like, do you have examples of that, how that might operate in a suburb like Fitzroy?
Yeah, well, if you go up Brunswick Street, you can see it happening there, all over the place. There's also interesting that it's happening less probably on Brunswick Street than it is in other places because of the community and the sense of independence that Fitzroy has that makes it a bit unique in Melbourne. But examples would be Blockbuster Video, which is owned by, if not Viacom,